everyone. Welcome to the Seraphine podcast. I am Seraphine, and today I have got the girls with me. We have got Giovanna, we have got Chelsea, and guess who else is here? The doctor's in the house, Dr. Auburn. Hello, ladies.
Hey.
Hi. So, what did you think, Auburn, when I said to you, hey, you want to do a show on 18th century fake Renaissance love show on Netflix? What the hell did you think?
I was thinking, what the fuck is Seraphine getting into? Like, literally, what kind of shit is this gonna be? They're gonna be stuck in a time portal, right? And then I press play, and the queen is black. And then everything kind of evolved from there.
I freaking love that you were down to do it. You know, if you've been watching the podcast, you know that usually when I'm with Dr. Auburn, she is a doctor to me, and we are diving into deep issues. The thing is, we're friends in real life, and we talk about a lot of crazy ass shit. And one of them happens to be what most other girls talk about is what they're watching on TV. And I love the fact that you were down to review this with us. And I don't know, just let's shoot the shit on episode 3, which is Art of the Swoon. Ooh. All right, Chelsea, start us out on this swooning sexual awakening that's happening with Miss Daphne.
Yes, this innocent girl is coming into her womanhood via Simon. So it starts out with her having kind of a sex dream, and it's so innocent and pure because the climax is right before he kisses her. That's really what it is. So it's just so adorable and fitting for her because she's cast as this innocent, pure diamond. Yes. So I thought that the turn of events I was like, oh, here we go. So anyways.
I don't know. Now, here's a question to you ladies, because I think she's supposed to be around 19, 20 years old, because this is her second round in this kind of these kind of matchmaking seasons, and her innocence is pretty big. When did you start to get the tingles aside from kissing? Like, when did you really start to understand about sex and relationships? Because this was really interesting for me, because I immediately went to age 12 or 13 and really understanding, like, you don't just make out. Like, there's starting to be, like, you know, like heavy petting in third base and you know, that kind of shit. Yeah. So heavy petting. that dates me.
I used to watch Melrose Place growing up with my mom, and that's I mean, I was really young. I mean, I just my parents tried to shield me a little bit from it, but they also didn't like. It was theirs reality. So Melrose Place was where I probably first
got the first tingles, right? Yeah. How about you?
Come back to me. I don't know.
All right. How about you, Giovanna? First tingles, you're like, oh, there's more than kissing.
Gosh. I think probably my real first kiss. Yeah. Or my first real kiss is what I'm going to say. Like 7th grade, you know, you get like that crazy. So probably the same age, and I'm like, oh,
what is that feeling?
What is happening?
It's not in my heart. It's a little bit below.
It's not in my heart.
I mean,
it's way below.
Yeah.
I think middle school too.
Yeah.
Somewhere in 6th through 8th grade.
Yeah.
Things got really real.
So it was weird. It like, for me, it was a little weird where I'm like, come on. She's 20 years old and it's her first dream. But then I'm like, okay, well,
but
I
she
guess
hasn't kissed anyone.
And her mom does not let them talk about sex. They asked about where babies come from. And her mom completely shuts everyone up, like doesn't want anyone to talk about it. It's like this forbidden topic of discussion. You're like, how are you supposed to learn about this? It's the birds and the bees. Like, it's how life is.
It really is.
They're really shielded.
They do.
They have chaperones.
Yeah.
But the dichotomy for me comes when the men are still getting to do like whatever they want.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the women are very much shielded and kept in like this special sort of treat for the world.
Yeah.
Well, it's like their wedding night. Like, whoa.
Right, literally.
They're in for a real treat there. They have no idea what is going on here.
They go from 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah.
But that's how it's designed, though, right?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
how we're supposed to be virgins when we get married, theoretically.
Yeah.
LOL.
Which
we're white.
And they really show in this episode the division line between Sienna, who is she's got the tingles. We don't know when she started getting the tingles, but she's got them. And then the dividing line of Daphne, to where it's like, I have a kiss, and so it's interesting because now obviously we're in the age of WAP. Like for me, it's the definitive line of the tingles versus the
space
wet ass
between swoon and WAP is so great.
I mean, it's crazy. So this episode for me was interesting to see how there is just not a middle ground. None.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I liked it because I've always felt, I still feel that. I feel generationally, I'm a 90s high school person, and there definitely was the girls who do and the girls who don't. Mm-hmm. And it's refreshing to be now in a society to where it's like, we can talk about WAP, but we can also have self-respect too, and they don't have to necessarily be one or the other. Yeah. Right? So we've got, back to this episode, we get a Prince Charming, which is Prince Friedrich from Prussia, who Giovanna's not a fan of.
No, totally. Like, if you want to know what my type is not, it's that.
Yeah.
White boy, blonde hair, blue eyes.
I will
Sorry,
say
that's
I'm not a
old.
fan, but for those diamonds, I will play innocent also.
I love it.
And I will marry the Prince of Prussia.
I can't even for the diamonds, honey.
I'll do it.
And
He's a sweet boy, though.
He is a sweet boy. And we find out,
let him be.
we find out that he's the nephew of our Black Queen.
Yes.
Which is really interesting. And this boy is precious to the Queen.
Yes, absolutely.
And she only wants him to be with the best of the best, which at this moment,
Daphne.
Because he is the one that holds the highest rank out of everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, the Duke is not as high as the Prince, so he is what every woman. I mean, whoever marries this prince will be a princess. Who doesn't want to be a princess?
Exactly.
So,
and there's a shift here of the power shift between Daphne and Simon, because now Simon actually has a threat. He actually is now seeing that this prince is coming in. And this is one thing that I'm curious about with all three of you. When you have been around a man in your life that, they get a little too comfortable because they know they've got you, or you're dating them. And then all of a sudden they peacock when they have a threat. And you really see Simon have this moment by saying to Daphne, oh, he's going to come around and he's going to give you that line of bullshit about your exquisite dress and and you can see that it makes her laugh and it makes her see him in a different way, but you can also see where Simon's it's a little manipulative too.
It's like a defense mechanism a little bit, where he's like, no, I'm
but they're
just
having fun with this
Yeah.
little level of jealousy. I think Daphne is loving the attention. I mean, she's getting attention from the prince, and she's getting attention from the Duke, which are totally opposite people. And I think that different dynamic is interesting for this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for Whistledown to kind of sort of comment in her papers about how she may be trading up.
Yes.
Who
Yeah.
doesn't want to trade up?
Yeah.
I do like it. It's fun, and it also gives this sense again of the stirring. It and that kind of goes with the whole sexual awakening and a little bit of competition.
Yeah.
And it's not so much
Excitement.
being married off.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
Having fun with it, because what will come into play is basically, I don't know if we should go there yet. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, and I like that it got our wheels turning in this episode. So we've got the other thing that comes in this episode, which is kind of a newer character, is Brother Benedict. And, we're seeing this now a male role of somebody who traditionally should just be thinking about his lineage, the estate, men's things.
Yeah.
But he's interested in art. He has an opinion about art. And you see him having commentary at this event that is art being displayed. I think it's at like Somerset House. And he's having a big commentary on art. I thought this was interesting because I do believe that we do get stuck into roles, right? Of this is what we do for work, this is what we do in our relationship, and usually the two don't meet. What did you think about Brother Benedict coming into the scene? Because really we've only had Simon and we've had Anthony as the main characters, and they're both these sexy hot guys, and it's basically centered around relationships. Brother Benedict's different.
He is.
Yeah.
When I saw him drawing at the fireplace, my first notion was that his hands were beautiful. It's very hard to render hands. And the expression that he was drawing and threw in the fireplace, to me, that was already an expression of who he was. And so it was exciting to kind of see that develop and him have that dialogue at Somerset House. And just being an artist, being in love with an artist is a very fascinating and terrible thing.
It's complex, and it's a big juxtaposition with Simon, who is a boxer. Like he's so alpha.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you're again, what I like is seeing the complexities of these roles that are usually traditional and like what is traditional, and this show is really showing this artistic brother and like who is this person. So I like that.
I think though, since he's not the first brother, he does have a little bit of flexibility of what he can do, because he's not like the second or the first in line. He's not going to take, unless something happens to Anthony, he's not going to take that responsibility.
That's a good point too, because Eloise is a little bit, I mean, she's a lot more verbose about being this independent woman as opposed to Daphne, who's the first in line. Do you feel like even now, I mean, as being are you guys like
I'm the older of Bianca and I.
Yeah.
And I do feel that there was there was a difference, right? Like I feel like Bianca got away with so much more because my parents were just like, whatever.
They're tired.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
Whereas my parents were strict, and I feel like my dad likes to say I was really dramatic. I was. but I still stayed on. Like whatever my parents said I did.
Yeah.
And then Bianca was like, whew. She's just, oh yeah, be home at 12. I'll be home at 12:10. You know, like she
pushed the limits a little
bit. She pushed
bit.
it all the time, but I think she got away with so much more just because she was
had more
the
flexibility.
Baby. Yeah, because they had me to just.
I'm the youngest, and I definitely had way more flexibility than my brother.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
It used to piss me off.
It pissed my brother off too.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest?
Yeah. Me and my brother are 6 years apart.
Yeah.
And he definitely got away with way more. And I think my parents were just tired. They're
Yeah.
like, we did her. She's great. Then we'll see what happens with him, you know, just go by the wayside.
Yeah.
But then when those responsibilities start to come up, like the lineage and, you know, things of that sort, actually, I'm relieved because I don't have that namesake part. you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he still kind of bears the responsibility of carrying on the name.
Yeah.
I know my brother had 2 boys, and I was like, thank you.
Thank you for filling that space.
Yeah.
I love talking family dynamics and just kind of seeing how it affects you, because I find that, you know, when you're the oldest or the youngest, there's these ways that we insert ourselves into that role. And as we get older, the beauty is that we don't have to really take on that role. We don't have to be the trailblazer. We don't have to be the space filler. But it's our natural instincts to go back into those roles. It's crazy.
It totally is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
So we have a really beautiful scene in this, which is the hand-holding scene in front of a piece of art.
I love this.
I mean, I want your honest opinions about this scene.
I think it's where, I mean, like you asked me earlier, what was one of the biggest things I took away from this is where Daphne just really blossoms into what like she can do, and you know, and her feelings for the Duke. And this scene to me was just so beautiful. Like you and I mentioned downstairs, like when they were looking at the painting and she was able to point out that, hey, this is different than the rest of them. And then he goes into it being about his mother's, and she explains this moment that clearly just resonated with him so well. And it was just the moment where you can tell they both just kind of fell into each other. And it was just a very beautiful moment.
I think with someone like Simon, who is so like, he's got so many walls up.
Yes, he's so guarded.
She was able to get through some of those walls from that moment and that connection. And I think that just brought them closer. And I love seeing the human connection between someone that has had so much trauma and so many walls built up, letting someone in a little bit. I love to see that beauty.
Yeah.
So do I.
Art brings people together because it creates a common language for us. And I think that as naive as Daphne is on a lot of things, this opened up her lotus of intelligence.
Yeah.
So she may not be well versed in kissing or sex, but she's well versed in riding horses, archery, the arts, architecture. And so when she opened up her mind to him, I think he was very much amazed.
Yes.
It's not like the street urchins that he may hang out with, in the brothel.
Exactly.
This is an intelligent woman who is going to grow into her own. And I think that was a beautiful part, because to me, she had already fallen for him. She had already had a dream about him, but he was still in this space where he was kind of playing the game.
Yeah.
And that moment brought him to her because it was about his mother. It was about finding the connection between the two of them. And almost like Oedipus complex, right? So that was important.
Yeah, and I think we needed it because, on the end of that second episode, we saw all this virility and alphaness and him being so mad at his father and saying he was going to cut the line off. And it was a little jarring to me because he seems so passionate. And I do believe that art, and this is what I loved about this episode, even with Benedict, the brother, is that we see that these traditional roles of masculine and feminine, we get to see him have a moment of vulnerability, and it's through art, and it's not through boxing.
Yes.
It's not through being the Duke of whatever. It's literally him having an emotional recall memory and seeing something so lovely and connecting with what I consider to be the feminine side of himself, and with her allowing it to just be, because so much is controlled between the two of them.
Yeah.
It was really it was a standout moment in the show for me, and I loved it. I really did. I think there's a few more things that happened in the episode with Marina and the pregnancy. We see like Featherington bringing her to the ghost of her future, of like, you're pregnant if you don't get married. There's all this control, and even we've got a little bit with Madame Delacroix, and again, it's all about controlling and manipulating. And then this end of the episode is so about just being. Yeah. But yeah, it was good. I'm glad that it's that you're enjoying it.
Totally.
It's all good. Well, thank you so much for hanging in with us and listening to this episode 3 of Bridgerton. Stay tuned as we discuss episode 4. See you later.